Welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC, where we talk about your favorite superhero movies, TV shows, comic books, all that kind of stuff in the world of TV shows and movies, and we chat about it, from trailers, reviews, discussions, all of it. And if you want to join that Absolute Armada, get your daily videos from us over here, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and go ahead and turn on that notification bell. Today, we're going to kind of look at the Lord of the Rings of Power trailer, but we're not really going to analyze it like we normally do. There's two particular scenes that to me just look terrible. And I'm a Lord of the Rings fan. I want to see this, but they just look terrible. But I also want to talk about the audience reaction, and it's not good. That's your spoiler for that portion of the video.
No, I've seen like two arguments about Amazon's Lord of the Rings. You know, like obviously we live in a world where you can't like have nuance or subtlety, so it's like either it's just extremes. You're only hearing extremes. People saying this is the worst thing ever made, and people saying like, how dare you criticize this trailer?
Like, I want more Lord of the Rings, but I want it done right. And I feel like the reason why we haven't seen anything outside of what J.R.R. Tolkien has written is because everyone is scared to touch this property.
Yeah, they should be, because like
100%.
The things to adapt have already been adapted. Lord of the Rings, I'm sorry, but like when you make more Lord of the Rings, you get a Hobbit trilogy that is just awful.
Like, you get a trilogy that shouldn't be a trilogy.
Yeah, and like, but listen, Tolkien was a writer the way that like I can't even come up with an analogy. I'm just like, he was a linguist. You know, he was more interested in world building than he was in introducing the story. Like, Lord of the Rings is the book, like the story you can adapt. The Silmarillion is not. It's a mythology. It's like being like, I'm going to make a movie about the Bible from beginning to end, one movie. That's not going to happen.
One whole movie would be, and then Jacob begot Arthur, and then Arthur begot Stan, and then Stan begot...
And not all the tangents are interesting. Like, I don't want to find out about like how Bill the Pony was sired and where he went after he was released, but it's in the book. But yeah, that's what we're getting. We're getting not a prequel, because I don't think they're even directly connected to the Jackson movies. But this trailer would like you to think they are.
Or I think it's one of those things where it kind of is, but it's also not at the same time.
Right,
like they're going to leave it open-ended.
So,
yeah, they're going to leave it open-ended where it could be, but we're never going to directly state. So anyway, though, it opens up with a giant, gorgeous CG shot of the city and all. I love that. That was great.
Yeah.
I loved the usual. I don't know why they wouldn't go back to New Zealand. I guarantee this isn't New Zealand, but they're going a sweeping over shot. And we get to a sweeping shot of what is apparently, I'm assuming, one of the main cast members. Otherwise, why would you show a supporting cast member? I don't know who that is.
I don't know.
And she's smiling at something, and then we get Before the King, and it shows this person jumping with their knife, and this is my first problem. They look up, and we get clearly a CG scene, and this scene right here reminded me of Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian CG levels. Like, not like you would, like, give me some high quality, we're not talking CG over a person's body in the Star Wars Boba Fett thing. Right. None of that. We're talking like Prince Caspian levels of CG on this. I don't like it at all.
I'm getting some Golden Compass vibes on this. I'm not thrilled. I mean, like,
what do you guys always call it? The Pleasant Hill effect or whatever?
The Uncanny Valley.
Uncanny Valley effect. That's what they tried too hard, and she just looks plastic.
Yeah. This was very expensive, by the way. Like, it was like $1 billion or something like that. Like,
where did the money go? Just on the sweeping shots of the landscape?
I mean, you could do that with like a gimbal and like a bike, but this is. There's nothing about this that screams must watch. You know, if you love Lord of the Rings, like, I don't know if this is for you. I mean, I know a few people who are Lord of the Rings fans who are like really hyped for this movie or for this show, and for the life of me, I can't understand why, nor can they articulate exactly why they're excited about it.
I think it's just getting more in the world that they love. I mean, that's really it. And I, you know what? As a fan of something like Assassin's Creed, which does a lot of this extended universe stuff, but 90% of it is shit.
Right.
I'm like that. Where I'm like, I know, this comic is shit, but look at the adventures of my assassins. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah, I hear you.
Look, they did cool things. I have no idea what's going on, and it ties into nothing, and the canon is terrible, and the art is horrible, but I love this book, Sal. Like that. I'm the same way.
Is that your opinion about this show?
I feel like the hype behind it right now is the Lord of the Rings fan that just want more Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that's like a big problem in like the world, like in terms of pop culture, where it's like, I loved this thing, please make more. And
Yeah,
it's like,
I just want more. I don't care
Right.
how we get to it. I want more.
and I think
the
that's
other
like where
scene,
you get, yeah.
well, I just wanted to, because we'll keep doing that talk, but because like the other scene in here is at
Yes.
48 seconds. His
Yes.
mouth is unnaturally weird and awkward, and like it's obviously CG. And this is my problems. It doesn't look good.
Right. And we're in a time like that those movies came out 20 years ago. And and I was just watching actually one of them the other day, and while there were a few shots where I'm like, these did not age great, you know? You're so immersed in the story and the world building, and all the practical effects make it that much more, exciting. We're in a place where you can get away with so much more, and you can save so much money, and the CG is better in certain respects. I mean, like armor, metal, anything inorganic is like pretty much photoreal. Like every car commercial you've ever seen is a fake car. Like they're CG cars. Like
Yeah.
you wouldn't know it because like they've nailed it. So armor, we can do that. Water sims, we've got that covered. Fire, I think we figured that out too. And yet, you could see the seams.
Yeah.
And yeah, that doesn't bode well.
And that's kind of, and I've got a feeling this is going to do well. It's going to get shit on like crazy, but it's going to do well. As I've said, as a fan of franchises and video games that get shit on a lot, I'm used to it. So
Yeah, I don't think it's going to do well. I think
You
this
don't
is going
think
to be
so?
one of those. No, I think this is one of those things where it's like you underestimate how much people like Lord of the Rings. Like it was Lord of the Rings, the movies, like were a phenomena. Like it had a lot to do with the filmmaker and people
Oh, yeah.
involved. Lord of the Rings has been adapted before. They made animated movies. There have been video games, and those movies are treasured because of the like execution. I don't know if people today desperately need not even Lord of the Rings. Like I thought this was going to be like a remake of Lord of the Rings, where it's like we're going into it, we're doing the Fellowship, we're going to recast, we're going to do, but just expanded. But no, this is there's a pre-show that's setting up like 3,000 years of history to lead up to Lord of the Rings, and I don't know. I'm just like, I don't think you're going to find the audience to care, like especially with how fractured.
or it's
the
going to
device.
be a niche audience. I will say, no matter what they spend on this, I don't think it's going to make back its money.
No way it's going to make more than $1 billion, which I think is how much this show cost. And it's like, if it's not going to make its money back, I don't know. It's one of those things for me, and I know it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but like, I don't want to get hyped about a show that I know is gonna,
465 million. I just want to clarify before the comments go in and tell you.
You keep saying $1 billion. This guy doesn't do his research. You know what? Go away.
465 million is the official named number. Well, moving forward at this, I do want to say we decided since I'm a Lord of the Rings fan. My wife is the massive Lord of the Rings fan.
Right.
Like I'm not a like I like the series, I follow it, but you're not going to see me going off and going under the deep dive history book. So I was like, well,
Sure.
since I don't think you are either, so since that's the case, I was like, let's look at the comments. Let's see what the community's saying.
Yeah.
So this is kind of interesting. This isn't me just pulling off things, because you guys know that half of this channel is just me going on the internet and seeing the internet's reaction to stuff. The first comment basically boils down to it gave them a Narnia vibe. So I'm glad I'm not the only one who got the Chronicles of Narnia vibe from this.
Oh, yeah.
But after that, almost every comment, and I'm not joking, and I linked the video so that Dylan, when he's editing this, can grab this and show you, says, evil cannot create anything new, they can only corrupt. A quote from J.R.R. Tolkien. So going off of what you said, that you don't feel like the fan base is excited for this, Sal.
Right.
Based on these comments, it's in every language too. And there's so many with so many legit names. This is not a bot. This is people. There's some movement that I am not aware of.
No. I don't agree with, nor do I approve of like brigading. And I know that there's a group out there, or multiple groups out there, that like are turning this into like another kind of conversation. Like, I don't want to watch this show because I think it looks really bad, and I don't really care about what happened before Lord of the Rings. Outside of having read some of the Silmarillion and not being interested in what Chris Tolkien has to say at all. I don't care. You know, like I like Lord of the Rings. I really enjoyed the movies and I like the lore and the concepts behind the characters. But like end of story, right? Like, but I don't care if characters are race swapped or changed or gender bent. Like I'm not interested in that. But there's a group of people who are very interested in that, and they're making it like and they're polluting the argument. You know, where it's like you can't just not like something. You can't be like, yo, this thing that looks kind of shoddy, and they're like, yeah, and also there's black people in it. It's like, whoa, like we can't have that conversation. Like that's not the conversation, man. It's like, no, but me and 4 of my really loud friends have now made it the conversation. It's like,
well, the problem with
it.
making that the conversation is now if you have legit critiques, and you're like,
can't-
I didn't. Like, let's just say that becomes the argument for this Lord of the Rings thing, and I'm not even
Exactly.
tracking if there was race swapping or gender
There
swapping.
is, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's
But
like,
if you
whatever.
turn that into the argument, and then this is a bad show, you
Right.
can't argue that it's a bad show because then everyone goes, well, you're just on the argument and against the race swapping and the gender swapping.
Yeah.
It becomes
or
an
you're
issue,
like,
but-
hey, this is a bad show, and someone's like, yeah, right, and also you must also like agree with me on these other issues. It's like, oh,
I've had that
man.
happen a few times on a couple shows where someone's like, hey, what'd you think of the show? I'm like, I'm not a fan of it. And they're like, yeah, I can't believe they made such and such a woman. Whoa, man. Whoa, we're not, no,
Yeah,
that's not.
no, I don't like it because like it has really bad direction.
Yeah. But this whole time I'm scrolling, trying to find real comments.
Yes.
It is all copy and paste. It's copy pasta that comment.
Yep.
And there's a couple variations, like as the master himself says, and things like that. Like, but it's all that comment, all that quote. I've literally been scrolling this whole time since we mentioned
Yeah.
this, Sal.
No, this
and
is
I've not
amazing.
gotten into real comments.
Right? No,
This
it's
is
really
amazing how organized this is.
weird. It's very coordinated. I wonder if there wasn't like some kind of plan.
There's a 4chan or a Reddit thread where they're doing this. There has
Yeah, where they
to
were
be.
like,
There's-
on Super Bowl Sunday, we are going to drop the trailer. And when they do, we are going to just bust out everybody. I mean, there are more comments on this thing than I've ever seen in any video in my life. And
How many comments are there? Because I this whole time I've not found a real 6,000, and I've just scrolled probably at least 1,000, and they're all that comment.
yeah, I'm seeing 8,400. So it's like, and
Oh, so
these
it's
are-
gone up. It's gone
Yeah.
up since I did it.
yeah, and I don't like believe that any of these comments are going to watch the show. You know, like it's weird, man, and it's weird what people get really precious about. You know, like it like Lord of the Rings, really. You know, you got 3 great movies. I don't know what you're complaining about. You got 3 bad movies as well. They're called The Hobbit, but you know, those movies are bad for other reasons too, right? Like it's not about like race swapping or gender identification. They're just really bland movies.
I honestly don't know if I finished them. I might have, but if I did, I didn't realize it.
A lot of
'cause my
people I
wife was
know
watching them.
have that exact same reaction where they're like, "Did I even see the third one?" There are so many people I know, like everyone I know personally is like,
I know I saw one because my wife made a big deal about it, which means I probably saw 2.
yeah.
Whether or not I don't know if I saw 3. I really don't.
I've seen not only have I seen all 3, I saw the fan edit that merges all 3 into one movie. And it is better, but it is like it's taking 3 bad movies and making one bad movie out of it. You know, like
Yeah.
it is shorter. I could say that for it.
But
yeah.
let's go ahead and wrap this up here. What
It's
is your
weird.
thoughts on this? And if you're going to copy pasta that comment, more power. If you want to give us 8,000 copy pasta comments, I'm on board. Shoot those
Right?
over.
Oh my God.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching today's episode of Absolutely Marvel and DC. Me and Sal, we'll see you with Dylan and Dan on a future episode. We'll be talking about all your favorite shows that we want to watch right here at the Comic Store. No, we're not Comic Storian. We're not. What are we? Absolutely Marvel and DC. Where's my brain going? I need more coffee. Thank
just
you guys
wrapping
so
up.
much. I'm just wrapping up. My brain is down.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget to check us out right here on a daily basis. You can find me at Comic Storian, him at Comic Pop, and you will see us next time right here.